Hey guys, Mike from Wrestling Done and Now. Thanks so much for checking out the Sin Bodhi Kizarny clips. There are two links in the description of this video. If you're an animal lover, you want to help Sin out with his animal farm, donate animal treats, donate animal supplies, you can. Check out the links, and thanks again for checking out the video.
So I was on your Wikipedia, and I saw
Oh,
you worked with King Kong Bundy early on,
I did. I
and
did.
before he passed away. At one time, he was one of my closest friends. I was actually the trainer at his school, at his
Oh, that's
wrestling school
awesome.
for a while.
Chris was so good to me, dude. He was so
Such a good
nice.
guy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it blew my mind because I was still, pretty darn green. And I mean, I guess we're all green always. Like I remember hearing Ric Flair say one time, he said to a bunch of us in the locker room, and he was just like, he goes, "We're all green." He goes, "I'm green. I'm just a really dark shade of green." I thought that was funny. But yeah, like I just, you're always learning. And then my mind was just blown when I talked to him. I'm just thinking, this guy's the bad guy. He was squishing Hulk Hogan and all that kind of stuff. And for me to be in the ring with him and just being in the ring with any of those kind of guys from that era, I was just stand across from them and just go, what the hell am I doing with my life? Like, what's going on right now? Like, those are the Road Warriors. Those are the, Samoans. Those are, Jake the Snake or King Kong Bundy or some such, my mind was like,
Agreed. Me too. Because we're fans. We'll always be
hmm,
fans. We go out to
yeah,
dinner, and people would run up to King Kong Bundy, and he was always so nice to them. And in my head, I'm
sure,
thinking, I'm still as excited to hang out with him as these fans are. And I'd hang out
sure,
with him 3 times a week. It's King Kong
sure,
Bundy.
sure. That's awesome. Yeah, he was so cool, man. He uh he let me do like I was just green as goose shit, what did I know? And he was just like, "What do you want to do? What do you got? What do you do? What do you do?" And he wanted to know. Like he didn't want to just show up, collect a paycheck, and f off. Like he was interested and he cared, and it was really cool. And so he let me do all this dumb shit. And then a couple, I don't know, not too long after, like I'm on another show with him and I'm wrestling Hacksaw. And Hacksaw was kind of like, look, kid, I kind of want to, take it easy. Want to do this. And Bundy was just like, oh, don't be an asshole. Like, the kid's good. I work the kid. I let the kid do all these things. And then they literally like it scared the shit out of the whole locker room because they start arguing with each other. And they're, as you know, they are both mastodons, like
Yeah.
just monsters.
Yep.
Fuck you, Bundy. You gotta run with Hogan in that blue steel cage. I got this fucking 2x4. Fuck you. I'll do what I want, whatever. And fuck you, Duggan. Blah, 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 blah. And all of us in the locker room were just these young little dummies. We're like, oh shit. And all of a sudden they stopped and they looked at each other and they started laughing. And we were all like, ooh,
That's great.
okay, they're just goofing around. And I had a fun match with Jim that night. But yeah, Bundy was just like, let's kid do something, all this stuff. And it was cool. It was very cool.
I'm gonna read you this and hopefully you pop for it. So when I was on your
Please.
Wikipedia too,
All right.
the name Bobby Bass was on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No class, Bobby Bass.
we're recording this January 6th. So
Yeah.
on January 1st, I sent this text to my buddy because I was just home watching YouTube old WWF. I go, did you ever hear of Bobby Bass or Goldie Rogers? I never have. I'm watching them wrestle the British Bulldogs. They look like crap physically, but they're great workers. Man, this is a great match. Like I couldn't believe how good Bobby Bass was.
Yeah.
I
Bobby
never
Bass
heard of
is
the
awesome.
guy.
Yeah. He could sell a punch for like 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'd sell it like he'd fall forward and kind of on his face, like an angle. I'm like, this
Yeah.
guy is great.
So, like my coaching brain is kicking in, and for your viewers, whether they're old school, new school, anything in between, or whatever. So, like, I would tell wrestling students, which other guys have told me, like, there's some stuff that I've kind of figured out, other stuff that I was taught and learned, and this and that. But however, I've arrived at this. I want to say Gangrel maybe kind of pointed this out 100 years ago to me. He goes, every move from a dive to a pile driver to an eye gouge has 3 bits. And he did it like this. Because I'm an artsy guy, I need to kind of see stuff. He goes, um, the setup is about this big. The move itself takes this much time. And the aftermath is the biggest part, the big sell. So you wind up, there's your setup. You're winding up for the big punch. The punch itself takes quarter of a
Right.
second, and then you're throwing all over the place and flopping and flailing and wobbling around through the ropes and this and that and whatever for you know 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, whatever you want to do. And that really always spoke to me. And like guys like Bobby Bass, like that kind of stuff is such a lost art where guys are thinking more about the sell than they are about doing the stupid ass move that fans have no comprehension about, like, and all that stuff. But I could go off of my little diatribes or whatever, but I just, on a positive note, I think like, yeah, Bobby Bass is one of those awesome sellers that could just make anything look awesome.
Yeah. Let's plug your stuff.
Okay. Social media is my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram is all Sin Bodhi, SINNBODHI. So if promoters want to book me for an appearance, to wrestle, to do a seminar, happy to do any of that stuff. I do it all the time. I fly out somewhere and I wrestle and do a seminar just about every weekend, someplace, somewhere. And then also too, I make the custom LJNs. So like the rubber wrestlers, the figures, about the 8-inch figures from the 80s. I kind of make sort of modern versions, more of a history. Like I'll make the ones that I kind of want to make, and then fans or other indie guys will be like, "Oh, that's cool what you made. Could you make one of me or my buddy or my husband or my wife or my whatever?" And I'll say, "Yes, I can." And that's kind of where I kind of make my money off the figures, is not making a nostalgic figure from that I like. It's more like showing that off, and then fans or more indie guys saying, "Could you make one of me?" So I'll make the money doing mostly that. So if you want an LJN figure of yourself or your favorite wrestler or your buddy or whoever it is, send me a message. Happy to do it. And just about all the profits from any of the things I just mentioned, whether I'm wrestling or doing seminars or making the LJN figures, besides keeping the lights on and the food in the fridge, that money goes to feeding our animals here at our little funny farm on the edge of Death Valley, just outside of Las Vegas. So we've got chickens and goats, turkeys, ducks. I got a giant tortoise about the size of a lawnmower. I've got a mini Texas Longhorn walking around my backyard. I've got dogs, cats, one of Jake the Snake's wrestling snakes. I've got all sorts of critters. The wildest of beasts are my wife and my daughter, so they're all here. Everybody, all the wild critters are here. But yeah, so many different creatures. So if you want to donate for any of that, my wife has like sort of like an Amazon wish list where we don't want money from anybody, but like people want to donate like goat treats or cans of case of cat food or stuff like that. That's always super duper useful.